question. Okay. So this is the last week before the the finals or final project due. So next week is the final project due. How's everyone doing?
I'm good so far, but it's definitely challenging at this point. I don't know if I'd show something that's a little bit tricky or not.
Mm-hmm. Um, can you remind me what do you choose the game, right? What is it called? Or was it NG? I forgot.
Oh,
Uh,
I changed mine, so I decided it might be like kind of interesting to do like kind of like a quiz type thing, like a personality quiz with just like a few questions to try to make it simple.
okay.
But the only thing is, I guess it wasn't challenging to like set up the pages with like the conditional rendering and things, but then once I started getting into like thinking about how the code would like analyze based on like their responses, like if it was multiple choice,
Mm-hmm.
uh, then I started getting a little bit stuck. And so I think I might need to like rewatch some of our older lectures and kind of try to like combine those skills because I think when I focus on like one small aspect, I can do it and do the homework. But then once I have to like put it all together, it's a little bit difficult.
Oh, okay. So what you would do is, let me understand what you're trying to do. So you have a quiz with multiple choice questions, right? And then
Yeah.
user selects. So there's a right one and there are multiple wrong ones, and the user selects, makes make their choice, and then um, you give the final answer, or once they go through all the questions, you give them what's the score is, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of more like so I was thinking if this gets too complicated, then I should have like a right and wrong answer. But
Mm-hmm.
initially I was attempting to do, like those like really silly like little quizzes that are just for fun that are like, "Oh, what kind of like this are you?" or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I was gonna have like six questions, and then based on what the people's answers were per question, I was hoping to like maybe give each response like a certain weight or like some kind of thing
Mm-hmm.
where at the end it can go, "Oh, you're this like this is like based on your responses, this is the kind of category you are," or like
The
something like
personality test.
exactly. Yeah, something silly though, like something
Okay.
I started off with what kind of bread are you? Just just to be,
Yeah.
foolish. So it's like, oh, okay, based on your personality, you're like sourdough or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit whimsical, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, anything works, right? I mean, it's your game, right? You decide your quiz. You decide how you want to do it and have fun with it, right? Uh,
Right.
you can actually do, what you can do is you have an array with you know question, and it's how do I say, it's personality, trait. So if somebody says, just keep it Boolean, somebody say yes or no, right? Yes means, okay, I like to eat, potatoes. I like to, you know, I guess, uh, run bare feet or something, and then you decide, okay, that's crazy. Uh, you know, uh, and then, so basically, you can decide, based on those choices, um, some sort of score, and you add them up, and they say, oh, this person is, I don't know, A type or B type, something like that, right? A simple version of it.
Yeah,
Um,
like maybe like true or false questions instead.
yeah,
Yeah.
instead of having multiple, because if you have like ENGT, whatever personality, right, that requires quite a bit of, you know um analysis, and all that stuff, right? Instead,
Yeah.
keep it crazy, keep it simple, right? Uh,
Hmm.
are you crazy or not?
Yeah. Right. Or
You
like
eat
something, yeah.
ketchup, if you put ketchup on a pizza or something, you're crazy, uh,
Yeah.
uh, so something, and then you ask them multiple, and then you have if out of 10 questions, 5 are crazy, 5 are not, then you kind of balance, but 6 are crazy, then 4 are not, then you kind of going into the crazy territory, something like that.
Yeah, I was like hoping to kind of do that. I think another thing I was wondering is like when this might be a silly question, but so I know about like we were doing the arrays and stuff in JavaScript.
Mhm.
Now we're doing React, and React is essentially like JavaScript.
Mhm.
Do we just put that in like the same like file as the React code, or do we put it in the JS? Like they're like on CodePen, there's like a separate one
So
where,
any
yeah.
Yeah, so I can show you today. Yeah. So you want to put the logic in there? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was thinking to put, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Like
okay.
where do I put that?
Yeah, yeah. So you create a separate file, and then, I'll show you today. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can keep it in one file or have a separate file. Doesn't matter. But yeah.
Okay.
But I'll show you. Yeah. If it gets too, complicated, then you can split it in different files. But yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Um, anyone else has any questions regarding the project or difficulties? Uh,
Yeah, I guess that I'm not I I don't know what I'm doing anymore. This is so complex, I guess.
Are you doing the matching game?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I start setting up the game, which
yeah.
is the
Okay.
cards. And then I was thinking about making it like you suggest the other day. So I have different dips where
Okay.
right I have the numbers. So I have like 8 dips if I have 8 cards.
Mhm.
Uh, but then I was thinking at some point, right, maybe it's easier to do the array and then just double the array and have the same value. And I just got some mess up. Because
So
yeah,
right. So the way you want to do it, you do want to have an array, but have a single array, right?
how what?
Have a single array.
Yeah.
Uh, but when you fill the numbers in, have for now, I just have a fixed numbers, right? So let me share my screen.
Can I actually show you what I did first?
Yeah, sure. Let me allow.
So you can tell me that I'm on the wrong path.
Okay, yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do I have here? I did this last week and I was styling the cards, which was pretty easy.
Mhm.
I have here, I guess this is the metrics, which are the cards.
Mhm.
I guess so. What are they? Answer cards. Oh, I guess these are the ones.
Let's go from the top. Let's go from the top. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you have a matrix. Okay, so the cards, let's say you have 4 card game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would be the number inside?
1, 2, 3, 4.
No, it would be 1 2 1 2, right? Because you
You're
want
right,
to,
you're right, you're right. Yeah. Eventually I
right?
was confused with the, you're
Yeah,
right.
the game works. So basically, you have 4 cards total, basically pair of each, right? Which means you cannot have more than 2. So you'll have 1 2 1 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, Yeah, then you have is started, which is good. So it's false. Okay. Open. So that you want to have as an array. You don't have as an array. You have I don't know what you have here, but you want similar array, right? So you have 4 cards, then you want to have 4 choices that has been made, right? So which means nothing is
Open yet.
not
Right.
open yet, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then you also want an array of 2 cards which user can open, right? So the way the memory game works is initially all the cards are face down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then user clicks on one, it opens up and it closes, right? And then a user clicks on another card, it opens up. And if it's for first class, so there's something called temporary open, right? So the 2 cards can temporarily open, right? But if they're not matched, they would flip back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you will have another state for temp, which has only 2 cards in it, right? But it's have it as a empty array, right? It has nothing in it initially.
Okay.
Yeah, just name it temp or something. Yeah.
Like that. That's right.
So I'm gonna have all the states for you, and then logic you can easily do that once you know what it is, right? Okay.
Yeah, this is where
Then
I got stuck because the
okay.
first thing I wanted to do was like, okay, I have the cards
Yeah.
and I wanted the cards to be closed. So initially is, I guess it's this line you gave us
So
last.
what you do is yeah, if it's open, hold on. Yeah, you wanna you wanna loop through all the cards, right? So you wanna use that map function. So what you want to open is this. You want to open the cards that are true in your main array, which is if you go up, you have 2 arrays.
That false.
Yeah. Hold on, go up. Okay, so you have a matrix, right? So anything in the anything. So you need to match what's in the matrix with what's in open, right? So what you want to do is actually instead of so obviously in a matrix you will have 1 2 1 2, right? Not 1 2 3 4.
Yeah, since this is not an array and I'm not
Okay.
anyone.
Okay. So then what you want to do is when you render them, all you need to do is do a map function, right? So what remember we learned about the map function where we can render the array.
Oh, we change it as an array, right?
Yeah, you change it in an array, right? So you want to just use as a map function.
So here we were doing like separate divs, which is
Yeah. Don't do the separate div. Just it becomes very difficult. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I don't know what is this anymore. Yeah, I guess like set my metrics on my metrics dot map and arrow function. I don't know anymore.
Yeah. Do you remember the syntax for
No, I don't. But what I'm actually gonna do with the map function?
So what map does is it will let you print or display each one as a child, right?
Okay.
So right now you have 2 children showing here, right? Instead, you just want to have a map function that display all the children, right?
So is it like that?
Yeah. Well, inside the curly brackets, right? First of all, the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And then you want to put the child there, that div, right? Line 25, you want to insert in the inside.
Like this?
Yeah, and then that's it. Close the curly bracket.
Mm.
The end. You can do that, or
Yeah, I was trying to do something else here. I can't.
yeah, but with the map you have to have an argument, right? So line 23, you have a arrow function. First you have an argument, and then you have a return. So right, you'll have a value or something, right? So line 23, it's a map. Then within parenthesis, you would have no, not like that. Let me send you the map function syntax. Yeah, put it in the chat. Yeah. So map function has a parenthesis, and then inside you have something going in and something coming out, right? So going in would be each value of that array, and then coming out would be the div, right? So yeah, going in is a number, coming out is a number by 2, no, multiply by 2, right?
Oh, yeah, this is like what we actually.
So yeah, so in your case, you'll have some value coming in, and then coming out is the div.
Do I give this any name? Or
Yes, item, and then arrow function.
so arrow
So
function.
map function, if you look at the syntax, yeah. If you look at the syntax, map function has a parenthesis, first of all. How about just copy that function first?
This
And
one,
then,
the cons.
no, not the whole thing, just the Fibonacci from the Fibonacci number. Yeah, that's it. And paste it. And then replace your value with, yeah, just outside, line 22, just do 22. So it's not confusing.
Okay.
Okay, and then instead of number, you'll have item. Right? And instead of number multiplied by 2, you'll have that div, the whole thing, right? That you already have right now. You can copy and paste. Yeah. And yeah, remove that first part now. You don't need it.
It has to be in curly brackets still, right?
Yeah. Okay, good. Can you right click and format this? Okay, hold on. Yeah, remove that line 26. Yeah. Okay, format this thing. Yeah. Right click, yeah, format. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Now, so you have an item, right? And then what you want to do is, if you have, so So you have two things. You have item and then you have an index. So in here you have two things. Item is the value, right? So in your matrix, my matrix, you'll have
1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1. Well, 1, 2, 1, 2, but each array has index, right? Which means 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So item, you'll have a comma index, right? So line 23, you'll have item, comma, index, right? So the index is the one that you want to use. So you can say if the you have the open, right? So you can pass the index in the line 24. Instead of 0, you can just pass the index, right?
Yeah, because no, this is how we access it.
Right. So what you can say is if the index is true, then you wanna just put the item there, right? You don't need to say, or you can just say my matrix item, but you can just put item there, right? That's it. No, the whole thing, item. Item is a value, not right.
Sorry, I don't understand what we're doing.
So if it's open, then the item is actually the value for each array, right? The item you get, it's actually or you can just pass in my matrix index. Just how you pass in the open, you can just pass index in the my matrix instead of 0, right? Okay. All right, now refresh that little window. Okay, let's see. Yeah, remove that line 27 to 29. All right, so what is the issue now? Use state is read only. Can you go up? Have you done something with the use state? Oh, yeah, line 9. You put the parentheses wrong, right? No. The other way, right? How you use in the use.
Oh, use states is not inside parentheses.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. There you go. Okay. So now I think you can do yourself. For what you need to do, two things, right? One is you can actually have this game finish in maybe another 10, 20 lines. It's that easy. So the another thing you want to do is, so when you click on each item, right? So where is that item? Is line 24, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so line 24 is the item that is being displayed, right? So what happens is when you click on any item, the first thing you do is you already have the index, right?
Yeah.
So, so on click, you pass that index, right? Remember we learned how to pass the index into the handle, right?
Yeah.
We have an on-click handle, and then you pass the index. And then what you do is you put that in, if you go up, you put that in the temp. Okay, so first check, is your temp empty, right? If it's empty, then you put the first item. Okay, so which is the index. So let's say if I clicked on the very first item, then it's index 0, right? I'm actually essentially clicking on 1 inside the my matrix, right? So you put that in, set your temp with that one item inside. Okay. And what you want to do in that sense, if you go down, you also you have to change the logic a little bit here. So right now what it's saying is, if everything inside your my matrix, if it's true, so let's say if you go up and then change one of them to true. So line 8, make one of them true. Okay. You see now 2 is showing up, right? The second item is showing up, right?
Yeah.
So this is how it works. But make it false right now. So, okay. So what you want to do is, ideally, when you click on it, any card, you want to insert it into that temp. Okay.
Do I do the on-click function inside here?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I
And
define
past the
function.
index. Yeah. Past the index, right? Inside.
Okay.
And then
find the function, I just said temp.
yeah, basically in the temp, you push. So you first check if the temp is empty, right? You would then insert the first item that is clicked, right? So all you need to insert is an index. Okay. Then the second thing you do is check if then you click on a second time, right? When you click on a second time, oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, what you have to do is this. When you click on a second time, you insert that temp, and let's see, and then if it's matching, it's gonna update the my matrix. I'm sorry, not my matrix. It's gonna update the on open one, right? So it is a little bit complex thing, but you have to play around to see, okay, what happens when I do this, right? So essentially, if I click on a 1, that thing need to open, right? Then I click on a second, that thing also opens, that card also opens temporarily. If it's a match, right?
Yeah.
Then what you do, let's say if it's a match, which means you have 0 and 2, right? Because you have a 1, let's say you clicked on 1, number 1 for both, right? Which is a 0th index and second index, right? So then what you do, you need to go and update that 0 and 2 index in the open, right? Make them true. Then you need to clean up the temp again, right? Because temp cannot be, because you need to have another 2, right? So then you clean up the temp. So that's how it works. And you have to change the logic. If you go down a little bit, you have to change the logic. If you go down, where right now, line 24, you have to change the logic a little bit, where you would say, right now you are saying, if it's open index, then do this. You also want to check if that index is inside that other array temp, right? Then also you want to open. The only time you want to close is it's not inside the open and it's not inside the temp, right? If it's false inside the open and not inside the temp.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. You'll figure it out. I think you have a ground to start from. I would say, you know, maybe 5 more lines and your game is done. But that requires a little work. Okay.
Okay,
But
I'll try my best.
yeah, I'll leave it up to you. And then you can,
Okay.
yeah.
Hopefully I won't cry. Thank you.
This is how you learn, right? So that's good. All right. Lastly, Kautar, how's your project coming along?
Um, I'm just kind of playing around. Like I haven't really got into it yet. Like I'm still trying to like think of like what should I do or like what should I use specifically.
Mhm.
Yes. I was kind of just like, let me just see like today if I can get more ideas of like what to do.
Okay, so one thing you can do if you don't know, I remember last time I shared a to-do list
Mm-hmm.
with you guys, right? So the code is in the canvas. It's a so you can just use that and extend it. So you can copy paste your, you know, in your and then modify it to add more features, right? Maybe 1 or 2 features.
Okay. Maybe I could do like a quest kind of mission, like fantasy kind of thing. Or
I would recommend, since only 1 week, depends how your comfort level, right? If you are not very comfortable, then I would not recommend doing anything too complex.
mm,
But if you're comfortable, then you can you know, you can add you know, whatever you want to build, right?
mhm.
Unfortunately, since we are only 1 week, um, you're probably not gonna get that much help, right? Because there's no class in between.
Yeah.
So I would suggest maybe stick to something more simple.
Mhm. Thank
Yeah. Whatever you want to build, just think about something and build something simple. As long as it's working, I'm okay with that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah. Um, so it's like this, right? When during the first operation, let's say if you're a doctor, it's your first operation. If you don't kill the patient, you are successful. You know, that's how I take it. So all right. So I was gonna show something, Raven. I forgot what was it I was gonna show? I lost the chain of thought.
Oh, I think I was just getting a little bit confused with adding like
Oh,
JavaScript stuff to
yeah.
React.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Let me show you how to do that. Um, I'm gonna share my screen quickly. Okay. So all right. Okay. Do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. This is really interesting. Why is it not showing? Maybe I need to refresh it. Okay. So we all know that we always start from app.js, right? This is where our code lives. Let's say I want to have a function which adds 2 numbers, right? So I'm going to write some JavaScript. So I'm going to create another file called add.js. Okay. So React, everything is JavaScript, first of all. So all your files going to have a .js. Make sure it's capitalized when you create a component, right? And then all you do is, let's say you have a function, and then you do add. And add function is pretty simple. You have a number 1 and number 2, and then all you do is, return n1 plus n2, right? Okay. So this is the function, but I cannot use it in any place until I export it. So the way to export it is you would simply do export in front of it, right? This means I can use it anywhere. Okay. So create a function and put export in front of it. Now, inside the app.js, I can import it. So the way to import it, you would say import, and then within the curly brackets, you would say add. So I'm going to import add from, and this is where you would put a string dot slash, and then you would say add. Okay. So the syntax is import from dot slash means in the same folder, right? And you don't do like add.js. It knows what it is. So you just say add, right? Which means it's going to use the same folder. Okay. And then you would put a curly bracket here. And the reason for curly bracket is, I can have another function, right? So let's say if I do this and sub function, right? Subtract function that subtracts it. So then in that case, I can import both functions like this. Okay. So if I want to use this function, the way to do this is in the curly brackets, I would call the function add, and then I can pass, I say 1 and 2. So they should print 3 here, right? Okay, I have to, I guess, refresh it. You see?
Yeah, I think I was doing something where I was like trying to export, but then I forgot to say import, and then
Right.
yeah, and then I also didn't know that you could like combine like that way, so that's really useful.
Yeah, you can put as many. I mean, the name of the function is add, but I can rename this to, I can say all the math. I can say math, right? And then inside here, I can say math, right? Which means I am importing this 2 function from my math library, and math library has these 2 functions.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you for that. I was a little bit confused, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. You could, however, put function directly here, right? So let's say if I want to create another function, let's say if it gets too confusing and you don't know, you can simply put that function here. You can say function. Say if I create a function called add1, which does exactly the same thing, n1 and 2, and then it returns n1 plus n2, right? If I want to do something like this, and let's say this, I'm going to change this to add1, which means it's using this function, not this. And you can see it's not using it because it's not highlighted anymore, right?
And would you say it's more so I guess the reason I was trying to do another like file was just because I felt like it might like simplify when you look at it, but is it actually just simpler to do it this way where it's inside the same file?
So if it's a much bigger project, right? where let's say you're building a giant application. You don't want to put everything here, right? You want to, let's say you might you might have like 50 of these functions, right? If you put everything in one file, then it gets cluttered, it's hard to read, right? So having a separate file makes much more sense. But for this class, whatever is convenient to you, just use it that way, right? But it's really good to know this method. It makes life much simpler, right?
Right. Yeah. Like if you have a lot of different things to look through, it's
Exactly.
yeah.
You can segregate it. So let's say if I can see my logic here, all my React like JSX logic, which is I'm comfortable with, rather than having all these functions here, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's good to know.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Okay. One thing I wanted to cover today, which I think you might use Angie in your code, is we don't so when something gets updated, right, with the use effect, use state, let's say if I do set use state to something, right? When do I know that if that thing is updated? Because once it's updated, I can make another change. Okay. So how do I do that? So the way to do that, and especially in your case, Angie, what's going to happen is when you make a second choice, right? Let's say you open a first card, which is fine. Then you open a second card. You want card to open for a split second, right? And then if it's not a match, it should close, right? So you're going to update that array with the second card, okay? So let's say the first card, the index is 0. The second card, the index is 2. So as soon as the card goes in, you check value of those cards at those index in the matrix. Are they matching, right? If they're matching, then what you do is you remove those cards. But when do you know when to match? Because once you update it, you need some sort of feedback, right? So this is where you would use something called use effect. So let me show you. It's pretty interesting. So we're just going to use our typical counter example. So I'm going to import, use state from React here, right? Okay. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a state here, which always happens between this curly bracket and return. So I'm going to have a simple state const I and set I, right, equal to use state, and it's going to be 0 in the beginning, right? So be all familiar with the syntax. And then here I will have I, right? So you would see when I refresh it, you would see the 0 here, right? Cool. So this works. Now what I want to do is this. Let's say I'm going to have a button here. Button with a plus sign. Okay. So with this button, when I click on it, what I want to do is I want to increment I, right? But once it finished incrementing, I want to add one more. So it adds the second one. Okay. So how do I do that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a typical on click event here, right? And which will have some sort of handle. I'm going to call it on click handle, right? And we're going to create that on click handle here, on click handle. So we'll have a function on click handle. Okay. And then inside, we will say set, you know, the last value or previous. Previous plus 1, right? To whatever the last value is, add 1 to it. So if I click on here, oh, let me refresh it first. What happened? Oh, set I is supposed to be set I. If I click here, right, it just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is all good. But what I want to do is, as soon as it updates the value, I want it to update again. So how do I do that? To do that, I need to know when it's finished updating. Right now, I have no idea when it would finish updating, right? So this is where the second thing comes. It's called use effect. So what use effect does is, this is how you write the use effect. And you always want to write it right after the state. You would say use effect. And then it has two things. The first thing is what to run, right? So it's a function. So it will be a function, some sort of function, right? And then the second argument is going to be when to run. So it has something called dependency. So if I'm going to keep it empty, which means anytime I is updated, okay, I want to run this function. So this array is like, you put whatever you want to monitor. So I'm saying, okay, I want to monitor I. Let's say if there's something called J I want to monitor, I can put J here as well, right? But right now I just want to have I here, right? So, okay, so what I'll do here is the, so this is saying when I changes, run this function. That's all it's doing. Okay, this function. So inside here, I'm going to do is, I'm going to say, if I is equal to 0, well, you can check if whatever the value of I is, you can check and then update it. Okay. So the only caveat here is this. If I say, if I change is update I, what's going to happen after that? It will do it again, right? Because I is changing, right? So every time I changes, it's gonna keep doing this, right? So what I want also, I want to have some sort of status that or updated, right? And set updated equal to use state. And then initially I'm going to say false, which means it's not updated, right? And I'm also going to see, I'm going to also put this here as well, which means if I or updated changes, run this. So here I'm going to say if if the updated, if it's not updated, right? Right? Then only it would set I again. So this is saying if it's not updated, then do that. But right after that, I want to update it, right? Set updated equal to true. Make sense? Because I need this, otherwise what's going to happen? Every time I changes, it's going to update I, which again runs the update, and which again. So I will never stop updating. It will keep updating for infinite, right? This actually blocks it. So let's do this. Well, first of all, I'm gonna do this, and then 3. Oh, also I want to check if I is less than 0, right? Because so if I click on here, hold on. No, it's not gonna work. I'm not gonna do this. The only thing is it says 2, 3. Oh, and then, okay. Once this does it, then I want to say set updated equal to false. Because what's going to happen is, again, it's a little bit complicated. You see now it's doubling every time I click. Okay, it's a little bit complex. Think about it this way. You have when you click on it, it's checking. Because this doesn't run when you click on it. It runs when I updates, right? So when do you think I updates? It knows when I update. So it's saying, okay, I'm going to monitor whenever I or update is changing, right? Either of changes, you run this. So let's say when you click on it, the first thing is I gets updated, right? So I becomes 1 to 2. So then it's going to run, is updated equal to true? Well, it's not, because initially it's false, right? So then it's going to update I again by 1 and also make it true, which means it's already updated. So don't do it again, right? Because this time it's also changed. So this time, again, it checks. It's not updated, which is not true, which means it's not going to do it, and it's going to stop. It will stop, right? Okay. And then once that's done, right? Then it would right after that, it would set back it false, which means, again, when I click on it, it will do it twice. Okay, so this is something you want to use, Angie, for yours. So here you want to monitor your updates to that temporary, right? If temporary gets updated, you want to update the you want to check. This is when you want to check if they are what is it called? In your case, if they are equal, right? Then you want to make them true in the other way and clean it up from here, right? So any questions on here? It is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me put this in the chat for now. Yeah, go ahead.
So to summarize, this is essentially a way to let it know that like every time it's updated, like don't keep doing it unless we're clicking on it again. But instead of okay, and instead of saying like associating it with a click, it's associating it with the increasing or changing numbers.
Yeah, it's almost like if you tell somebody that if you tell somebody if the door is open, close it, and if it's closed, open it, Okay. If you give that instruction, what they're going to do, they're going to open the door. Then they're going to see, oh, it's already open. So they're going to close the door. Oh, it's closed. They're going to open the door, right? All you want to, so you want to say, no, stop doing that. You only want to do once. When you go there, if you see it's closed, open it. If you see it open, close it, right? But then come back. You only want to do one task, right? So that's what we are doing. So updated this, we kind of set it as a measure to prevent that kind of thing, right? So we are updating both. So once you, let's say, if the door was open and closed it, we also set this updated equal to true, which means next time they look at the door, if it's already updated, then they're not going to do anything, right? Whether it's closed or open, they're going to leave it there and come back, right? But once they come back, we want to change that updated to false again, because next time they go, we want them to do the same thing, right? So that's why I set it after I set it to be false, because they came back up after the update, right? So it's, in a way, it's a little bit complex to understand, but once you do this kind of thing for a few times, then you'll grasp the idea of, oh yeah, this is so useful, because it would help you, I'll give you another cool example. Let's see. Let's say I want to build, go to the app.js. I want to build a countdown counter. Countdown. Okay. So what it's going to do is there'll be a button here. So let's try the button. Button. And it will say start. Okay. So let's see. So when I click on it, there'll be a counter here. Okay. So once I click on it, it will start counting down. So if it says at 10, it'll become 9, it will become 8, and all so and so forth. Okay. So just watch it, and then you can code with me. So first you would import use state and use effect. I want you to code with me this time, so then it will be easier for you guys to understand. Okay. So 2 things, right? First, I created this button called start, and I imported use state and use effect. All right. So now we are going to set the state. So, it's the same way you would say const I set I equal to use state. And then this time we're going to put, let's say 10, because it's a countdown. So it will start with 10 and it would count down, right? And here I can, in the H, let's say 2, I can put I. Right? So when I click on here, what's going to happen is going to say 10, 9, 8 automatically. Okay. Okay, so now let's understand what we're going to do here. So when you click on the button, it will say go and count down by 1. Okay, so it's going to make 10 to 1 transition. Okay, then we're going to use effect to monitor that. So if it reduces by, if it's changing, then we're gonna change it again from 10 to 9. And again, it's like almost like you're telling somebody, you know, if the door is closed, open it and close it again, and then open it again and close it again, right? Once it's closed, until for 10 times in a way, right? So let's write that logic. So remember, use effect has two things inside. It has a function, right? And it has some sort of dependency where I'm just going to put, say, monitor I. If I changes, run this function. Okay. So, but we want to stop somewhere. We don't want to just keep going. We want to stop at 0, right? Because otherwise, you know, the counter would keep going to minus infinite, right? So I want to say, if I is greater than 0, right? Then only run this. Otherwise, don't do anything. Okay. So stop once it reaches 0. This is what it means, right? And then all I'm gonna do is set I, and then I'm gonna take the previous value, and then previous value minus 1, right? So let's look at what happens. So as soon as I start, it's showing me 0. You know why? Because even for the first time when the I is, so I need another state, right? I want to say is started, set is, oh, just say start. Let's just say start and set start. Okay, equal to use state and false, right? So what I'm going to do is if it's greater than 0 and started, right? Then do this. Right now it's false. It's not going to do anything. So if I see, now it stopped because started is false right now. So it's preventing it from doing anything. Okay. All right. So let's do this. So now what's going to happen is here, I'm going to have on click event, right? And then it's going to have on click handle, right? And which is a function. So this is pretty simple. On click handle, right? And so here, all I'm going to do is start the counter. So I can say set start, right? Equal to true. I'm not even going to do anything beyond that. I'm not going to reduce the counter because it's happening inside here, right? So let's look at this. When I click in, what is going to do? It's going to start the counter. So it's going to say set start equal to true. So come here, and then I need to also say if the start is also changing, right? So what's going to happen is it's going to check. Is start equal to true? Yes. Is I is greater than 0? Yes, because it's 10, right? So it's going to start and it's going to reduce I by 1. Okay. Again, as soon as the I finish updating here, this is going to run because I is another dependency, right? And start is already true. So it's going to say, oh, 9 is greater than 0? Yes. It's going to do it again. 8. Is 8 greater than 0? Yes. It's going to do it again. It'll keep going until it's 1. Is 1 greater than 0? Yes, so it's going to make it 0, right? Then it comes back again. Is 0 greater than 0? Wrong. So it will stop here, right? So if I click here, it just goes 10 to 0. I don't see it because it's so fast, right? Our human eye is not capable because it's happening so fast. It actually going 10 and 9, 8 and all that stuff. We just don't see it. Okay. So, so far with me, this is really useful feature because you can see it does so much cool automation. What if I want to see the number going down? So I want to do every second one number. Okay. So for that, there's another function. The name of the function is called set timeout. Okay, so let me explain you what the set timeout is. The set timeout is a function. It has two things inside. Okay, it has a function just like a use effect. It has two things. It has a function and it has a timeout. Timeout is in a millisecond, which means if I want 1 second, I have to have 1,000 here. Okay, so your computer is so fast that it can actually count to 1,000 in 1 second. Okay, so basically each millisecond you're counting. So here what I'm saying is do something, but wait for 1 second before doing this. That's what it means. Whatever you put inside here, it's going to wait for 1 second. Okay, if I put 2, which means it's going to wait for 2 seconds before whatever it's doing it inside. Okay, so if I take this code and instead of just set I here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the set I and I'm going to put it in here. Okay, so it's going to look a little weird, but essentially what it's doing is wait for 1 second before updating I. So now look at the magic. Okay, when I click start, what's going to happen? First, start becomes true, right? Okay, the start becomes true, which means this is true. It's going to check here. It's going to go inside here and it's going to check. Oh, is I, which is 10, is it greater than 0? Yes. Its start is true. Yes. So both are true. It's going to go inside, but it's going to hit this set timeout, which means, yeah, you can run this, but it will run after 1 second. So, okay. So it will wait for 1 second and it would decrement I. So I will become 9, but you will see because it happens after 1 second. Okay. Then as soon as it's finished, it runs again. So I is 9. So it says 9 greater than 0. Yes. It start. It's true. Yes. So it's going to do again and it's going to wait for 1 more second. So like this. Cool, isn't it? Okay. So Angie, what you want to do is when you add those second card, you want to wait, you want to put the set timeout inside, right? And then check, because you want the for the split second, you want the card, both cards to be open, right? And if they're equal, then they stay open. If they're not, they'll close. But you want that split second, right? So this is what you use to anytime you want to wait for something, right? Let's say if I do 2 seconds, it's going to slow down. Right? Any questions?
Where did the 1,000 and 2,000 numbers come from again?
So it's basically if you want to wait for 1 second, right? because this argument is actually milliseconds.
Okay, I see.
So 1 second is 1,000 milliseconds. Okay, so you
Right.
can't put 1 here. You have to put 1,000, which means 1 second.
Okay, that makes
It
sense.
means 2,000. Yeah. Because if you put 1, if I just put 1, it's going to be so quick. Again, it's like 1 milliseconds. Okay, look, it's so fast. You're not even going to see it. If I put 50 milliseconds, you see how fast it is, right? Maybe if it's 100, then 10 times faster than 1 second. Right? So if you want to wait for like 1 second is actually a long time. So 1,000 is 1 second. Okay. Let me give you this code. I'll also put this code in Canvas so you have access to it. But you can keep this kind of example as a reference. So whenever there's something that you wanted to check, you can easily go and look at it, right? Anything? All right. So that's about it. I'm gonna enable that final project in the Canvas so you can upload it. Mostly you just want to copy this. If it's a sandbox, just put a URL, save it, or you can just put this code, copy paste this code, in there. So, and those who are going to be present on next Friday, next Thursday, you can come in and showcase your code as well. All right. Again, just do something simple. Just take one of these things and modify and do something cool. Okay. That will be your final project. Okay. Worst come worst, if you, let's say, can finish something in time. If your project is completely, let's say if you have few features, but if it's not complete, that's fine as well. As long as you can showcase those 2 features, I'll be fine. Okay. All right. So that's it. Any last questions?
Yeah, I want to ask a couple questions about my code.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Can I share my screen?
Sure.
I don't know if what I'm doing is right, but I don't think so. So I'm trying to get on the click event, the card to reveal, so we can see the number. So I click event, and eventually this function that is taking.
Oh, you need to wrap it in a you need to wrap it in another, because whenever you want to pass something in, you want to wrap it in another callback function. Remember we learned about this?
Like in this, like on the to-do list we did.
Yeah, just like how
Is this a good example?
like use effect, use effect is another callback, and then yeah, just like that. Yeah. Right.
So I need the extra, do you say curly brackets?
No, you need a callback function, like that function, and then you return that. If you look at yours and this, you would see the difference, right?
Yeah, it's different. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I did like this one.
Yeah. If you do
Thank
this
you.
way, then it will pass that value inside.
And once I pass the value in the index, so I do like set open equal like, and then because I have two values, right? I want to do index, but I also want it to change to true. So do I do inside parentheses like index comma true?
Index. No. If you go back, open your code.
Yeah, I was saying something like this. Where is it now?
Yeah, you want to do, yeah, you want
And
to
something like line.
update. So first of all, you will never change the my matrix. It's always fixed, right?
Yeah, but I mean the state open.
Yeah, so the
if I wanna
open,
change it to
what you
true.
want to do is, let's say your index is what, 0, right? Which means the first item is gonna become true,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But okay, you don't want to right away set open. You know why?
No, I don't.
Yeah. So when you click on, let's say first card, you haven't actually really updated it, right? Because the idea is there's a permanently open and temporarily open, right? So the permanently open is line 8, temporary open is line 9, right? So when somebody clicks on it, you just want to temporary open it, right? Okay. So on line 12, what you would do is put that card index inside the temp. So create a copy of temp, push the value of index, right? Right?
No, not this, right? Not set open yet.
Remember we had the example for updating an array?
Yeah, I can do this later. Thank you.
Yeah. So what you do is you create a copy then of the array, but you need to make sure you check if the length of that array is less than 2, then only you push it, right? Because you only want to keep 2 cards inside. Okay.
Okay.
So if it's a first card, just push it, don't do anything. If it's a second card, then you push it, right? But then you have a use effect also. So use effect keeps an eye on that temporary card. And once it's updated, you might want to write this down, right? Once it's updated, it checks, oh, does it have two values inside in that temporary? If that's true, what it's going to do is it's going to check to see if the value matches, right? But what it's going to do, it's going to wait for 1 second, just like, we did the set timeout. It's going to wait for 1 second, and then it's going to check if the values are true or matching, right? If they match, then it will take those index and updates the open, right? One by one. So first it will update the first card, and then second card, right? Make it true in the open. And it will also clean this up, right? It makes the temporary empty array, right? Because you can have a second round of things, right? So that should be your logic. Make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, use the use effect, take use effect, and use that 1 second, so you would see it's open and then it will close right away if it's not matching. But if it's matching, then it would stay open, right? Also, this prevents, like you'd push more than 2 cards inside. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, good project. Yeah, it should teach you a lot of things. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, so we'll just end here. And good luck with your projects, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.